Greetings and welcome to this day of celebrating Pride and the LGBTQIA plus and two-spirited people community. We begin with honoring the land. As we gather together as a community of faith, we celebrate the lakes, rivers, and streams which run through the ancestral lands of our First Nations sisters and brothers. In this area where the waters shimmer with the great spirit of all creation and the spirits of the mothers and fathers that came ahead of us, in our time together, let the ground on which we meet be sacred ground. Gathered together, we proclaim the good news of God publicly, intentionally and explicitly. This community joyfully affirms God's love for the LGBTQIA plus and two-spirited people. The presence of God welcomes the fullness of who we are. We are people who desire, who long, who practice love in many ways. We celebrate love that is platonic and love that is erotic, love that is queer and love that is collective. We are people who want to know and be known for who we've been, who we are, and who we are becoming. We honor identities in transition. We delight in authentic self-expression, whether trans or intersex or cis. God moves in our becoming. How wonderful are the many works of God's creative hand. May all who long for love's embrace feel their holy worth. That's a center. Since its beginning, the church was meant to be a place of chosen family, a community of outcasts and outlaws, dreamers, prophets, and humble disciples of love. In the company of divine presence, we create belonging and nurture justice. God of justice, even as we celebrate your love for the LGBTQIA plus and two-spirited community today, we remember the church has not always done so. We acknowledge the harm that continues to be done in your name today. We bring also a renewed commitment to interrupting prejudice and practicing solidarity. We press on together until people of every sexual orientation and gender identity can live freely and without fear, receiving the love and support all people deserve. Thanks be to you, our guide and our help in making it so. Amen. The reading this morning, today, tonight, whenever you have the good fortune of watching this service, comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 12 to 26 from the NIV, and we're calling it Unity and Diversity in the Body. The community of Corinth, one of the first communities Paul established and worked with, was a community that really struggled in the beginning. They fought. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of disassociation from one another. They couldn't find their common ground. They challenged one another in ways that caused separation, that caused fear, and caused resentment. But they worked through it. They talked, they conversed, they got together, they had discussion groups, and they had Paul to encourage and support them through their time learning to be a Jesus community. They had come from so many different walks of life, so many different cultures, so many different belief systems. But over time, centering themselves in the love that Jesus proclaimed and showed to all creation, they found a way to be different together, to embrace the diversity of who they were and still be a collective and still be a community. And they continued to work on this and be this for a long, long time, and became an example to so many of the other new communities of faith that were rising up throughout that entire region. This reading talks to us about how the body of Christ, the willingness and the hope of God work through us individually, as a collective, and how we are each integral. No matter what we have or what we do, or what we are each integral to the whole. Just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. For we were all baptized by one Spirit, so as to form one body, whether straight or gay, white or black, slave or free, and we were all given the one Spirit to drink. Even so, the body is not made up of one part, but of many. Now, if the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being a part of the body. If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has placed the parts in the body, every one of them, just as she wanted them to be. If they were all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you. And the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker or indispensable, and the parts that we think are less honorable, we treat with special honor. And the parts that are unpresentable are treated with special modesty, while our presentable parts need no special treatment. But God has put the body together, giving greater honor to the parts that lacked it, so that there should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. Let us deep breathe into this time of confession, hearing our concerns in our own lives, in our relationship with the one who is the essence of all life. We gather here, each a beloved miracle of divine creation. God has given us so much. We have each other. We have beauty and courage and the capacity to dream. These precious lives of ours, so short and vulnerable, are meant to be lived abundantly, rich in joy, meaning, and connection. We know, however, that forces of evil work to suppress God's intentions for our lives. White supremacy, anti-LGBTQIA+, and two-spirited oppression, sexism, and poverty work to strip from individuals, communities, and the earth the ability to thrive. And so the miracle of life becomes a burden. People struggle with the will to live. We turn on each other. We hoard resources and numb ourselves to pain and desire. We lose touch with the power of God that illuminates possibilities for collective liberation. But there's words for assurance in the hope of our collective compassion and desire to see all life as belonging, to see all life as part of the whole. Beloved one, your embrace is a refuge from violence and hatred. Assured of our worth and renewed in hope, send us the power of your Spirit to proclaim the good news that binds the brokenhearted, frees the oppressed, and rids the world of evil's lies that demean and destroy. Those who have been turned away, forgotten, or persecuted find belonging in you. We hope to embody such love. May we each be a sanctuary, a shelter, a safe place to turn. May we endeavor to learn from each other and grow together in love that protects and uplifts. Amen. I send you with these final words in hope that you find all the colors of life today, that you embrace it and feel one with it and know that you are a part of a wide, enormous, beautiful community of creatures and people in creation, waiting to be one with a million voices. Inclusivity in diversity. Beloveds, let us go with hearts full of courage, that we might practice love that disrupts bigotry. Let us go with minds open to experiencing God in ways strange and unexpected, in ways ordinary and everyday. And let us go with joy, for the Creator of all life goes with us. Namaste.